All right. Well, welcome everyone. Very excited to have you here today, and thank you for joining us. If you haven't already, please drop your name and store number in the chat when you get started, just so we can capture everyone that attended today. My name is Joe Giblin. I'm the Director of Remodel Marketing for American Woodmark. Hoping to see some familiar faces. I saw some Carol Stream in Schaumburg, Illinois out there, some stores I'm very familiar with. I spent the majority of my career on the field sales side, so hoping to see some familiar faces or store numbers on today's webinar. I'm here with Jerry Lockridge. She is the star of our show. Just turned 21 years old with American Woodmark years with us this year. And this will be our third year of doing these launch webinars. So for those of you that have had the opportunity to attend prior, you should be somewhat familiar with her. So we can get started here. But before we do, though, I do want to, Jerry P. Advance, thank you. Just start with actually a thank you. So this is a 45 years of partnership with Home Depot and American Woodmark. And we don't get there without everyone on this call. It's a big opportunity to work with you and all the support we get from our business. So we just really wanted to actually start with just acknowledging the amount of time that Home Depot and American Woodmark have been working together, and frankly, the partnership that takes to get there. So thank you to all the designers out there on this call. So with that, I will hand it over to Jerry, and she will take you through trends and some of the other fun things we are launching this year.
Yeah, happy to get started. 45 years, huge, milestone kind of celebration for us. But before we jump into the 2025 launch products for American Woodmark, we always like to start with a few style finish trends that we're seeing in the marketplace. Obviously, organic is still king. We've kind of been, riding that wave post COVID, since COVID, that connection with nature, light, warm, those beautiful natural tones, keeping spaces warm and flowing. One thing that I think is really awesome that we've been seeing is really this prioritization of functionality with those personalized touches. So really kind of diving in, seeing how consumers and customers are utilizing their space and making it function really well for their daily life. From an overall style standpoint, really seeing those cleaner lines still. The nods to contemporary, modern, even some mid-century and Scandinavian designs are becoming really popular. And even as we kind of talk about traditional and transitional, those spaces are really, really clean, kind of cleaning up some of those heavier, more ornate details in favor of more minimal details, but still adding nice, fine touches to those more traditional spaces. And this next trend I really love, the thought of prioritizing and designing kitchens for all phases of customers' day. So thinking about it from the time they wake up and have their morning cup of coffee until maybe they're having their nightcap, getting ready for bed. Thinking about everything that happens within that space over the course of the day is a really interesting and unique way to start, working with customers to see what all can we put in their spaces to make their day function and go even more smoothly after their remodel. Socialization areas, key areas to kind of gather and connect. That preference is still for rich and warm cabinet colors, seeking, lighter tones, not necessarily the heavier dark finishes, and really kind of hiding and concealing those functional pieces. So we always take a look at what designers are seeing in the marketplace too. And we're really hearing a lot about taupes. We're seeing, obviously, we were in, years and years and years of that stark white shaker. We're seeing those white neutrals kind of warm up within the spaces in favor of those taupe kind of beigey undertones, really because that neutral pairs well with any color. We're seeing lots of color in spaces now, from backsplashes to countertops, even contrasting island colors. It's really easy to kind of, use that taupe and really blend that space together and create something a little warmer, a little more cozy, a little more inviting than the stark white. So with that, we have launched our beautiful new painted oat. Hopefully each of you have gotten a chance to see it at this point. This is a beautiful kind of version of that cleaner kind of style traditional that we were talking about, mixed really well there with that two-tone island, but just a great overall neutral. And one of the things that's really unique about this is it's almost an instant classic. It's kind of got very, well, not kind of, it has very neutral undertones. And what I love about those undertones is they don't kind of contrast and they don't necessarily shift. A lot of finishes kind of shift in different, lighting, different when you pair different materials with them. This remains very neutral. It has that warm, kind of cozy, effortless, like neutral charm that I think is going to be, again, just an instant classic in our line. When we looked at painted oak, we were kind of trying to figure out what trends are we actually capturing with that we talked about. We do think this finish is really cozy and inviting. That space there looks like you could just cuddle up on that couch and read a book. Versatility, we always make sure our products are, working as hard as they can for us. And one of the unique things about versatility is it doesn't always have to be just with other finishes paired with this. I think that this shows the versatility of this finish all in one space. You can make it very rustic and masculine depending on what you're pairing with it, versus that other vanity there being paired with, more feminine kind of those chrome aspects. And it picks up beautifully within both of those spaces in one. And then, of course, I said doesn't always have to be finish adaptability, but adaptable is king, especially with the multi-tone spaces that we're seeing, two and tritones. Actually, we've been getting a ton of requests for a fourth catalog in 2020. And so you might see, I'm sure you've seen that now in the download. Folks are actually utilizing four tones within a single space. So great, great there. But this space that you see, it's our beautiful painted oak with our Duraform Drift product and that painted mist island really kind of bouncing into that coastal kind of light, airy feel.
You said it better than me, but I am certainly a big fan of this finish as well. And I think we've done a really good job of highlighting it literally and figuratively can work in just about, almost any single space. So, but that is certainly not all on the new finishes side. So why don't you tell them what else we have, Jerry?
No, the other thing that we talked about from a, natural and organic aspect is really the neutral wood tones. These especially medium tones is what we're hearing, about because they kind of blend. They're almost the neutral of the stain, I would say. A nice mid-tone kind of fits into any space with any consumer. It creates that harmonious kind of calming atmosphere there. So with that, we've launched our new maple cider. This is a gorgeous California casual kitchen. That's what we're calling it. We'll talk a little bit more about that trend in a few coming slides, but this is just open, it's light, but it's also natural. It really kind of draws you in to the space. You can see here on this Remy vanity, it can pop well with other tones. Crosses styles really great, like depending on what door style you kind of put it on, but it really has that beautiful sense of neutral within a stain, and I think that that's a really great combination there. We had discontinued maple spice, I think, last round of our launches, and this kind of is really taking that mid-tone space for us and removing what maple spice had in that pink kind of hue and making it more neutral and more versatile with the rest of our finish palette. From a trending highlight standpoint of maple cider, we talked a little bit about it being a warm and rich tone. I like to look at this space, and I really think that this space kind of captures just how warm it makes spaces, because if you had that and you're imagining that in our painted linen or even some of our other stains, it could feel really cool in that space. And that maple cider really kind of makes it cozy and more inviting and warm. It also obviously adds that organic element. You can see here it's paired with, in this tritone, with painted oat and painted navy. Works really, really well across our palette. And really, when we're thinking about organic, wood grain is king. We've formulated this finish very similar to get that grain pop from maple and really have it celebrate the beauty and the neutrality of the wood. One interesting thing about this image is we don't do very many wood on wood pairings. This is actually maple cider paired with our maple slate, and I think it looks really great in this space and in this setting. So overall, we always look at our finished palette as a whole. We make sure when we're formulating these finishes that they blend and they mix across our palette because we know how important those multi-tone spaces are. You can utilize any of our neutrals. Now we have that beautiful beigey oat finish up in our neutrals. They can pair well with any of our bold pops, with any of our warm naturals that now include that maple cider finish, our muted naturals that we've had in the line, and even popping in some of that character with our cherry finishes and our textured duraforms. The whole line is intended to kind of work and mix well and complement each other. So with that in mind, a few of our top pairings for these two new finishes. Painted oat obviously pairs well with any of those bold striking colors that we have. We chose to show it here with navy, sage, and black. It's really interesting because you can make a very muted palette with this painted oat finish too and pair it with our maple almonds. And then obviously warm it right up with that maple cider finish. And likewise with maple cider, it really does blend well with with all of our bold pops. We chose mist, obviously still the sage and the black. Sage is still a huge seller for us. I think the greens are still king. We also put it there with that maple slate that we talked about earlier in that image. And then obviously our new painted oat pairs really well.
Yeah, this really rounds out our palette, but I think we know that colors aren't everything that goes into a kitchen, so we certainly have some SKUs coming their way as well. So why don't we jump to that portion of the content?
Absolutely. New SKUs, we always put everything through the lens of how can we help you, all the designers, design more easily with our line and give customers what they're looking for within their space from a functionality standpoint. So with that, we take a look at our functionality trends. We talked a little bit about it earlier, really kind of personalizing those spaces, aligns, moving with those designated work zones, enlarged pantries that are becoming so large they're actually starting to be called back kitchens, which I think is really fun. Flexible and adaptable, those multifunction, multi-purpose spaces that customers are looking for those phases throughout their day. And really kind of hiding and concealing. We mentioned it earlier, but if you look to the right, that beautiful coffee nook is, just two cabinet doors away from being completely hidden across that space. And I think it's still a great way to start your day, coming down, opening your cabinet and having everything you need there. And then your eat-in dining spaces are still king because those islands have gotten so large. It's kind of hard to have, some of those more, connective kind of conversations. And now eat-in dining spaces and little nooks for that connectivity. We're seeing kind of take a lead in the kitchen space. This I love, talking from a design standpoint, again, really talking about that personalization and how unique tastes and lifestyles really play a part in how consumers are utilizing their space. Tailoring that storage, those bespoke details make it just uniquely them. And I think that that's important for consumers in kitchens today, really making it functional and then being just that authentic expression of personal style. So with that in mind, we have updated not all of our decorative accessories, but we've certainly launched quite a few collections and quite a few things that you see here from a decorative accessory standpoint to allow for those little bespoke moments in spaces as you're thinking about putting together your design. First up is our Era collection. This is really a nod to that mid-century movement that we're seeing, rounded on the edges. So it kind of gives you a little bit of that curvature and allows for a little more movement in the space. And then it has that beautiful routed out detail, that thin line detail at the top and the bottom, that really kind of, create just enough even for some minimalistic spaces and can even kind of transfer into many other styles. The other collection that we launched is the Aria collection. We are seeing textures in all forms and all ways across all spaces. So really adding this foot and leg allows you to give a little bit of that texture, a little bit of that visual depth to islands, to even into the bathroom and into some more furniture style pieces that you're designing. And then chunky legs. These are larger legs. Joe likes it when I say chunky legs, laughs. These are 5-inch legs. As we talked about, the islands are getting much larger. So some of our legs in the smaller versions can get a little bit tiny on the end. So those larger islands really requiring, a little extra heft at the end for those overhangs. These are 5-inch legs available in our square leg, our Parker leg, and our Chantilly collections. Think they're going to be a great addition to the line. And then we talked about cleaning up that traditional. This is actually the perfect element of that for me. This is our new classic corbel. So taking something that could trend a little bit more modern, like a cove corbel, and adding just a little detail at the bottom to create a little visual moment there. I think that works perfect within those spaces. We are launching coat hooks. And while this might not seem like you're like, okay, coat hooks, but this hardware, we're doing a ton of mud rooms across the space. I think that this gives everyone a place to kind of hang something, put those mud rooms together, get the kids' book bags up off the floor, coats and stuff from laying across benches. I think this is a great addition. It matches all of our hardware finishes, which I think is key. And then we talked about warming up spaces, and a lot of that is done with hardware. So we're seeing obviously our modern brush gold continues to kind of rise in our hardware collections, and we have added that to our metal cove and our metal Emerson corbels. I think two great additions there. Next up, I think that everyone is going to be really excited about this program, our Decorative Island Program. You can create furniture style islands using our Decorative Island side panel. That side panel comes completely constructed, comes out, it's all put together with the exception of the trim molding if you choose classic or transitional, but comes out ready to install. And then our Decorative Island back panel kit comes in a 48 and a 96 inch. Obviously, we couldn't install those because the island sizes fluctuate so much, but they come with, we're working on instructions now, an instructional video that should be up by the end of the week or early next week, along with written instructions. And we also have a little video that kind of outlines this program even more. I'll play it for you in just a second. It's included in our launch brochure, so you may have already seen it using our QR code. But these island panel kits, the side and the back, come in 3 available styles: modern, classic, and transitional. And I think it's really great because they are actually in your 2020 catalog. You can drop them on the floor plan and instantly create those furniture style islands that customers are looking for.
As islands continue to play an integral part of modern-day kitchens, American Woodmark is offering a new solution to elevate the island into a cohesive furniture piece. New in 2025, decorative island sides and panel kits. Available in 3 on-trend styles: modern, classic, and transitional. These new offerings are designed for versatility. The decorative island sides come in a trio of widths that can be used independently or paired with a decorative island panel kit in 48 or 96 inches. Measured and assembled in the field, this kit can be trimmed to fit any kitchen island design. For even greater customization, the panel kits have the design flexibility to accommodate seating options, either without or with matching decorative legs. Easy to design, easy to install, easy to love. With American Woodmark's decorative island panels, actually, you can have it all.
I am really excited for this program. I'm sure there will be, additional questions. It doesn't all spell it out with one video, and that's one thing we've given our sales team a bunch of tools to continue to talk about this out in the field. So as they bring your spec guides and launch materials into store, they will certainly kind of spend some additional time talking to all of you about this. But again, I think what's really important here is it makes really taking some of the complexity out of designing these custom island spaces out of it for you and for the customer. So we're really excited to get feedback on this and see what you guys think. as you get going with these products.
Absolutely. Very excited for that whole program. Think we're going to see some beautiful islands out there in the field.
Absolutely.
A few line maintenance is what I call them, kind of SKUs. The adjustable drawer insert kit, if you remember, we launched that within our deep drawers a few launches ago. Those have performed really well. Again, it's all about that customization from an organization standpoint. Those wooden slats there can be completely customized by the customer in their own personalized configurations. So we've launched those now in our standard size drawers in 18, 24, 30, and 36. Those items are field trimmable, just like the larger version. So you can trim them down 3 inches to create those in-between sizes, the 15s, 21s, 27s, and 33s. The base tray divider pullout expansion that you see there, when we were reviewing our pullouts, which pullouts have been great, like they're utilized across like in islands, flanking ranges, really super functional for consumers. We noticed that all of our pullouts actually came in 9 and 12 inches, except for the base tray divider pullout. So we've expanded that to kind of clean up that line. And now all of our pullouts are available in those 9 and 12-inch versions. I actually think outside of the Decorative Island program, I know everyone is excited for our void toe kick option. Before we used to have to recess the toe kick on both the left and the right and kind of pull that toe kick off in the field. We now have a new modification for void toe kick where the cabinet ships without that toe kick. Think this does several things for us. Obviously, from a design perspective, it allows us to give that streamlined, kind of more modern appearance. You can see it's a beautiful furniture style look if you look at that little coffee nook over there to the right. And it very easily allows you to add our decorative treatments that we just talked about, some of those new feet and beautiful things that we have in our decorative accessories right underneath. And then from a functionality standpoint, lifting that cabinet off the ground from a void toe kick allows for some additional accessibility. It's easy to clean under there, kind of grab your broom or your Swiffer, get underneath there. And then from, older homes, as we're thinking about going in and remodeling those, sometimes there's ventilation ductwork that you might not want to move. This allows to get that cabinet up off the floor and allow for that ventilation in that space. You see the upcharge there. This is the same upcharge that we have for our current recessed toe kick option. So we're kind of allowing that to come into the line right at that same price point. So I think it's a great new modification for us. A couple of product improvements to note. As we were reviewing our new painted oak color, we noticed just how well it went with painted drift. So we are updating our boxed color, our current drift, or our old drift, I should say now. We've already launched. Our old drift came on the painted harbor box. We've updated that to the new painted oak box. Really warms up that and complements that finish perfectly. Our breeze finish likewise was on a painted linen box. We have updated that to painted harbor. Painted harbor really allows for that more neutral, picks up those undertones and those striations within the breeze really well as well. Another product improvement for our artisan and our sloped hoods. As those were getting out into the field and becoming installed, we noticed that they couldn't install flush to the ceiling without a piece of trim molding there. So what we've done is we went ahead and added that piece of trim molding as you order the hood, so you no longer have to remember to add a piece of trim molding for those hoods to your order. It will automatically come with it, so you can flush those out right to the ceiling. This is probably my favorite part. I absolutely love putting our products in unique places and creating unique spaces for us to look at and for consumers to kind of browse and get new ideas for their homes. You see in the upper left, we have that beautiful little pet space. Pets need pretty spaces too. So we have a little dog washing station and feeding area. Along with that's attached to like a little mud room area. You see that unique laundry room there with the stacked laundry. I think that is such a unique and great utilization of space. Adding that little mud room element onto the side with those beautiful new coat hooks. You can hang everything and keep everything in the right spot. Same thing with that entryway. that entryway to me is just stunning to kind of walk into with painted boulder paired with our new maple cider finish. In the upper right-hand corner, that's another one of those beautiful nooks that we've warmed up really well with our new gold metal corbels paired with our hardware. In the bottom left, it might not be as easy to see in that picture, but I actually love this space. It's a little Jack and Jill bathroom, thinking about utilizing space better for our customers as they're renovating and making their homes more functional. And you kind of mentioned it earlier, Joe, that book nook in the new painted oak, I think is a awesome utilization of space, especially if customers just need additional storage in their home and they don't know where they're going to put it. Utilize that space underneath the set of stairs, and you can actually add storage there. While the book nook is great, it may not rival the speakeasy for me. I love that little space, thinking about going in there in the evenings and having a little nightcap. And then the thing that ties it together for me is that arch, which you will also see to the bathroom to the right of that. We're seeing a lot of arches, not necessarily in cabinetry, like from the old door style kind of cathedral look that we used to see, but really kind of seeing arches utilized in other areas and complementing those spaces with those. So really unique ways to kind of look at our products.
Love these spaces, love these rooms, and yes, I do love that book nook, and certainly lots of good, kind of finishes and SKUs. But I don't think it would be an American Woodmark launch without talking about some other things we're doing to make designers' lives easier. So, is there anything else you can share with them around what to expect for 2025?
Absolutely. We have launched, and you may have already heard, our simplified price strategy. Sometimes it's very difficult when you're sitting down working with a customer within their budget, trying to make sure that they get the look and the feel that they want. We've actually done a lot of work to simplify not only the buying process for customers, but the selling process for you. We always put everything we do through the lens of making it easier for you to kind of work with American Woodmark product line, and really kind of sell that to customers. So what we've done is we've grouped our doors into tiers. Within the tiers, all of the doors within the tiers share the same price point. You can really, we've really looked at the doors that we've grouped in each of the tiers to ensure that you can create any look at any price point, and even ensured that there is a shaker door in all of our buckets, which is something that, I think is very unique to the American Woodmark line. Something that we've really kind of worked on, and I think is a great asset for us now. Starting with what we're calling our base tier. These are our two partial overlay doors that we have, that's San Mateo and Glen Ellen. You see there, they're shaker and transitional, and boy, you can cover a lot of ground with those two doors, from creating new looks, new styles for any consumer within that certain opening price point that we have there. Moving up into our core line, these are kind of like our, meat and potato doors. Certainly our Leesburg is, that the shaker door that we have within that core bucket. Adelaide is our transitional, so it's got that slight detailed shaker. And then we're moving into the Westerly, which also is our first, kind of raised panel classic look that you can really create. So you can create a ton of looks within this price bucket too. Moving into our designer, we have our Remy as our shaker door there. Garner is that gorgeous transitional. Brooklyn gives you that really classic appeal with that molding look on the door, and then Slab for our, modern look. We love our Slab door. And then heading into our premium bucket, we have our Redding as our shaker. So our 3-inch shaker is in that bucket, along with MacArthur, Portola, and Savannah, kind of rounding out those looks that you can create in that premium bucket. And what I think is key here is you'll notice I mentioned every door within each of the buckets are priced the same. So what that's done is that means we have adjusted our MacArthur and our Savannah doors down 15 and 10%. I think that is going to be huge for us. That MacArthur door was the highest priced door that we had in our line, and I think maybe a little out of reach for some of our customers. This really kind of realigns that door, and I think it's going to breathe new life into it because it really is a beautiful transitional door. We've got some great spaces that we've done over the years in our MacArthur finish. So with that, we've made a Nice little flyer for you to kind of outline and make sure that you're understanding and seeing all the door styles within each of the buckets. Kind of a style made simple, pricing made easy flyer. You will find that out on designer resources. You can go take a look at that reference. Great. And again, just another great little handy tool to kind of give you a reference point for each of those new tiers.
Well, let's be honest, after spending 10 years in stores, having conversations with customers around linear foot and 10 by 10 pricing isn't easy. So I'm really actually probably this is the most one thing I'm most excited about with this launch is I think what this will do for having conversations around price and budget and being easily able to navigate customers between the tiers, I think will really help out in the field, and really looking forward to feedback as you guys integrate this into your qualification process.
Absolutely. If you're working with a customer who may be, tight on budget, it's really nice to know that we have this tiered system that you can still create that look and give them a great, beautiful, functional space at, maybe the next tier down. Few marketing materials I wanted to cover with you that you should either have or will be getting from your sales reps. So consumer catalogs, we've updated that with all of our new great launch products. Your spec guides are on the way if you don't already have them, and even our portfolio catalog has gotten a little bit of an update to include a lot of those new great launch products as well. First, we're celebrating here. You see it in the background behind me. Our Brooklyn is a tritone and painted oat, maple almond, and painted black. I think that that's a really striking cover. It really kind of draws you into that space. And then we couldn't help but put the little Remy maple cider bathroom on the back. Love that tile and that pop of color there with that finish. We did, as Joe mentioned, obviously 45 years, big deal for us in terms of partnership with Home Depot. We wanted to take the opportunity to celebrate with our customers too, really kind of creating that little seal, showing them that, we're really proud of our 45-year partnership with Home Depot. We talked a little bit about it earlier, but now trending in design styles, we like to let our customers know what's trending from a design aspect. Obviously, the earthy transitional, that nature-inspired living. We talked a little bit about that California casual. Love the whole vibe there. And I'm not really ready to give up on maximalism yet. I know it's not for everyone, but I absolutely love this Remy space below in the painted black with all of those bold pops. We did add a little bit of Cabinetry 101 to our catalog here, showing, as we've spoken the language over how many years we've been working within the cabinetry business, our customers, may not have those terminology items down just as much. So telling them the difference between full overlay and partial overlay, kind of raised versus recessed. You see the things that we've outlined there, just kind of helping them along that selling process as well. And then our launch brochure, this is for, you obviously built into our spec guide, those beautiful painted oat and maple cider pages, kind of giving that inspiration. I mentioned our island page down there with that QR code. That is the link to the video that we saw today. We will also be adding a link in a video to our designer resources for installation instructions, along with written installation instructions for those in the next coming days. Our void toe kick and our line maintenance, and then that beautiful coffee bar. We know we're going to get questions on how to actually build that. So we put the parts list there for you and exactly how to kind of go about creating that in 2020, which I think is going to be great. I've actually already been sent. A few of you have already created that and sent it back to me from a 2020 standpoint, which is always really cool and exciting to see. The portfolio brochure, like I said, that this has been updated also. We know our pros are super important to our business overall, for everyone. And we really want to make sure that our pros are understanding all of our line, what is available within each of those lines for them. And I think that this is a really great piece that outlines that as a whole. And then a few other launch support items. You may have already saw the June newsletter that was posted a few weeks back. If you didn't, we do have all of these newsletters posted out on designer resources as they are launched, so you can go see any backdated issues. Our June edition was all about our new finishes, our maple cider and painted oat. Be on the lookout for our July edition for the Decorative Islands and Boyd Toe Kick option. In August, we're going to focus on our decorative accessories and product improvements that we've made to our line. And then in September, we will be adding, another little tiered pricing piece for you because we really do think that that simplification of the line and those simplified tiers is really just a great way to sell the products. So be looking for that in September as well. Now, after launching all the great new items this month for the American Woodmark line, I didn't want to leave you with just that. I wanted to give you kind of a little sneak peek in what's coming in some of our other brands. Our Hampton Bay Designer Series brand is planning a launch this fall. You will be getting more information about that in the coming weeks, but be looking for that in the fall timeline. We are launching our new Renly Sandstone RTF. You see here this beautiful space. It's two-toned with that edgely white finish there. I think that this is a beautiful, warm, organic, obviously very on-trend style with that slim shaker wrapped door. I think it's a great addition to the line. Adds that little bit of texture that's actually texture that you can feel within that door and that wrap. And this will be priced the same as our Edgeley driftwood within that line. So a little peek under the hood at what might be coming. But with that, just a big thank you for everyone. Really sorry about the technical difficulties we had. I think we were all kicked off the internet, but I'm glad we were able to make it back on. We would love for you to utilize the QR code to go follow us on Instagram. We put a ton of additional content, additional imagery, cool videos, creating the spaces, showing how to put things together. So if you haven't already done that, please take a moment to go follow us on Instagram.
Thanks, everyone. And again, really appreciate you attending the webinar today. And we'll have all this information up, and your sales reps will be out with everything in stores real soon if they haven't already. So have a great day. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.